I saw Lords of Acid when the Make Acid Great Again tour came to Charlotte, North Carolina. That was my third time seeing them, and it was a blast. I'd been talking to their new singer, Gigi, online for a while, and she wanted to meet me at the show. Not only was the show excellent, but also the after party on the bus made it quite a night to remember. I hadn't traveled anywhere in a while and needed to get away from home. Then this crazy idea came to me. I should just fly out somewhere and go see Lords of Acid again. It'll be nuts, and I live for that. Of all the remaining dates left on the tour, I picked Minneapolis, Minnesota. For one, it was the cheapest flight of all the ones I'd looked up. I'd never been to Minneapolis, and the flight out of Raleigh-Durham was only 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I texted Gigi about my pipe dream, and once I read, "Yes, you should do it," it was all systems go, baby. They had 2 days off after that show, so I knew that if things went the way I imagined they might, we were gonna party until the sun came up. The plane landed in Minneapolis at 1:30 p.m. Gigi and Trudy were outside the venue. Both were happy to see me. I'd made a YouTube video telling the story of the Charlotte show, which Gigi loved.
And she's still dancing.
Did I just travel to Minnesota to go see Lords of Acid? Yeah, you betcha. As a thank you for everything she'd done in Charlotte and was doing for me on that day, I gave her one of my shirts. It looked great on her.
Thank you so much. I'm your biggest fan, man. Okay, green room. Where it is? Come, my friend.
Alright. Everyone in the beautiful Varsity Theater was setting up. Backstage, there was an arcade 1-up machine for the 1990s Mortal Kombat games. Trudy and I had a match with the original Mortal Kombat. She'd never played it before, and still beat me.
Yes, Gigi, brush those teeth. Make sure your breath is nice and fresh for those VIPs.
Always.
Oliver Adams came in and got excited about the machine. After all, Praga Khan's solo band was playing the Mortal Kombat theme from the 1995 movie. Praga came in sometime later. He saw the machine and talked about how the first one was what they used for samples in their song before they added more characters to the games. Gigi told Oliver about the video I'd made, and then he wanted to watch it. There's Oliver getting a kick out of it.
Look where we are.
Nice
Where are we? Minneapolis.
Yes, we're in Minneapolis.
My friend.
We went to the tour bus for a bit. The next show was in Denver, Colorado. I'd gotten my boots from Fashion Nation on a brief layover in Denver. When I told Praga this, I also showed him the picture they had of him on their wall from when he visited. He showed his wife, Inya, and they both got a kick out of it. The meet and greet was at 5, and everyone had to get ready. I was playing the Mortal Kombat machine, mingling with whoever was around and didn't look too busy, and generally trying to stay out of everybody's way. Dietrich and I were talking about traveling, his favorite tour spots, and the Minneapolis music scene. He said on most days, the band's schedule was so busy that they didn't get to really explore the cities they visited unless of course it was on off days, or if they went to places close to the venues.
Carrying this thing to the boss for Gigi. Damn, Gigi, where are you putting in this?
Galen and Oliver were talking about synths and studio gear. Oliver told the story of how his father helped him buy a studio in the 1980s, and then when Oliver's music career took off, the studio was paid off in 2 years. I asked him, so you're playing with Praga's solo band, but how come you're not up there playing with Lords of Acid? He said he preferred being behind the scenes and in the studio. However, Praga heard his voice a couple nights before, so Oliver was going to play Sex Bomb with Lord so that way Praga wouldn't have to shout so much. This meet and greet had a bigger turnout than the one in Charlotte. And if you happened to have $500 to spare, a certain singer's undergarments were for sale.
How much are they?
500.
Wow.
I wore them. On the stage.
Back on the tour bus, there was the listening to a Body Count, and I showed Agalok to Gigi. She'd never heard of them. Oh, and tons of smoking was done. A constant through the day was the amount of time she went outside to smoke cigarettes and, greener things. Praga's solo band went on. When I told him earlier in the day that he was a trooper for playing 2 sets each night, he told me that it was okay as long as his voice was in good shape. His voice was recovering, he said, but he was worried about how it would sound when he got on stage. He explained to the audience what happened to it, but I doubt anybody really noticed. Everyone was too busy dancing and stomping around. The band, of course, sounded great.
So, Gigi, do you have any pre-show rituals before you get on stage?
Eat shrooms.
Alrighty.
When Lords of Acid were about to take control, I stood in the background trying not to distract anyone from their stretching or their warming up. I fist bumped anyone who walked past me to the stage and wished them good luck. Sex Bomb was the opening song, and I was standing behind the barrier left of the main speaker. Then there was a problem. A blow-up doll was to be thrown around when they played Rubber Doll. Trudy came up to me and said, "We can't find the blow-up doll." I remembered seeing it on the bus and I said, "If you'll give me the keys, I'll go get it." I was handed the tour bus keys and hauled ass. The box the doll came in said its name was Sweet Jasmine. But no, this was Sex Bomb Annie, who was about to meet her demise soon enough. I even blew her up behind the stage once inside. Lords of Acid, as expected, were tight, wild, and played in top form. I overheard something earlier about how there may have been a fight with someone in charge at the venue about Lords wanting to bring people on stage to dance with them. But that didn't stop it from happening. In Charlotte, several others and myself were invited to dance with them on stage for Spank My Booty. I was flogged, and then I happily returned the favor. This time, Enya grabbed me from the side barrier and pushed me on the stage. I was the only audience member on stage at that moment, and not only was I flogged, but Gigi pulled my pants down and flogged my bare ass in front of a cheering audience. When Pussy was played, a lot of people got on stage and danced. That's what I love about Lords of Acid, just a bunch of cool people having a great time. So yes, the show was wonderful. The band was showered with compliments afterwards. Autographs were signed, and pictures were taken.
Thank you for being in charge of all of the acid. You did such a good job.
Back on the tour bus, one of the guests of honor got pizza from across the street for everyone. It was delicious. I gave Praga one of my shirts as a thank you for the music over the years. I'd been a fan for a long time, and I felt that it was the least that I could do. He said he'd wear it with pride. Enya was turning in for the night and needed a shirt to wear. She wore the shirt to bed. Orgy happened to also be playing in Minneapolis that night. Before he was in Lords of Acid, Creighton played guitar in Orgy, so him and Dietrich went to see them. As the night went on, more people were going to sleep, so for a lot of it, it was just Trudy, Gigi, and myself just chilling. A couple activities will remain off the record. Let me say though, that before I met Gigi, I have never seen one person roll and then smoke so many joints from the time I arrived until the time I left. Give or take 14 hours. Before I met Gigi, the biggest pothead I knew was Marzi Monazzeri. The 2018 X-Order reunion shows happened, and his smoking became a thing of comedy within the band. He would eventually quit smoking weed, but even on Marzi's heaviest smoking days, Gigi ousted him. She just kept rolling, then smoking, then rolling, then smoking. This, in addition to shrooms and her playing her music very loudly, meant that she was enjoying herself quite a bit. Having to search for lighters often and waking people up to use their lighters was a thing that kept happening. Of course, I was beyond tired. I'd gotten up early in North Carolina time and Minnesota was an hour behind. So I was starting to nod off while just chilling on the couch, listening to whatever anyone had to say. Gigi was like, "I'm getting weird vibes from you, Tony." Oh, I'm good. If there's something on your mind, just come out and say it. Really, I'm just tired. It's 2 a.m. Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Yeah, I was tired, but I wanted to absorb as much out of the trip as I could. The bus driver arrived around 4:30 a.m. Gigi and I shared a long hug goodbye, and we both said thank you for everything to each other.
Oh, you're laughing. I went fast in back. So you go home. Sugar.
And then I watched the bus leave. My flight was in a couple of hours, and I got an Uber back to the airport. For the record, I didn't smoke anything. But it didn't matter. There was so much smoke in the front lounge that when I got to the airport, I was giggling at everything.
Yeah, so the TSA lady wasn't very nice to me because I had the wrong boarding pass shown up on my phone. Well, guess where my gate is? It's gate H8. Gate hate. I'm going to the hate gate. Yeah. You see this? Hello, dial 1-800-ASSHOLES Incorporated.
Look at how bright it's getting outside. It's like Simon's Quest. The morning has vanquished the horrible night.
So this time Gigi has these feathers on her outfit. Well, she gave me a feather, you know, to have something to remember her by. Isn't that sweet?
I especially laughed when the intercom announced that passengers should always be in possession of their bag. So, that was my 4th time seeing Lords of Acid. I got a little sleep on the plane and took a long nap when I got home. It took a couple days for me to reset and process everything that happened. After partying with Lords of Acid, normal life seems so boring. Grind on.